Are we experiencing a Silicon Valley summer mass exodus? The numbers lead me to believe that could be the case. This is Danny Gould with the Selling Silicon Valley Group. Welcome, everyone, to another Silicon Valley market snapshot for the first week here of July of 2020. We're halfway through the year, everyone. And before we get into the data, before we get into the numbers, if you are a home buyer in today's market anywhere in the Bay Area, you can go ahead and text the word data plus the neighborhood or the zip code that you're looking in to the number down below for a comprehensive data set that's going to help you guide you when making offers in this market. Every little neighborhood is different, and there are actually some neighborhoods where you can definitely still compete with or get an offer accepted without much competition. But if you don't know what you're getting yourself into before you make the offer, you could be persuaded by an agent that doesn't know what they're doing, to actually write a significantly worse offer or significantly higher offer than you would need in order to win. So that data is important for you in order to be as educated as possible. And if you're a home seller in today's market, go ahead and text the word data plus your property address to the number down below for the most comprehensive data that you've ever seen in your life to help you price your home properly, help strategize and make sure that you're introducing the property and inviting the people into your home in the proper fashion. All that data, it's good stuff, folks. It's really good stuff. So let's get into the numbers and into the facts. It's interesting because if you've been watching these videos and following these videos for any period of time, especially over the last 6 weeks, we've really seen the market start to take shape. Starting about the second week of June, heading into now past 4th of July weekend, we've seen week over week over week a very strong seller's market here in Silicon Valley. I expect, based on everything that I'm seeing here, for that to continue over the next 4 to 8 weeks or so. Everything that happened, that traditionally happens in the springtime, right? The run-up after Super Bowl into March, strong March, April, and mid-May, and then mid-May starts to taper off. Memorial Day weekend, people start to leave town, go to graduations, weddings, schools ending, and then 4th of July, things start to die down. Well, everyone's sheltered in place right now, or at least they should be, and we are experiencing what we should have experienced in the springtime, now basically pushed forward 2.5 months or so into mid-June through, let me say, mid to late August, early September timeframe. Now, that could all change in a heartbeat, right? We all know how reactionary our culture is and our economy is, and pretty much everything is predicated upon what's happening with the economy and coronavirus at this point in time. But nevertheless, there are facts here that we should review, because what we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks is this idea or this notion that, yes, the epicenter of Silicon Valley, that is San Mateo County and North Santa Clara County, that epicenter is performing relatively well. I mean, much better than you'd expect it to, considering the circumstances, right? And then once we move into southern Santa Clara County and San Benito County, we experience higher and higher or hotter and hotter sellers markets, not just because there is less inventory than we've seen year over year, or less inventory as compared to last year. But we're also seeing greater demand in a lot of parts. In San Benito County last month, we were seeing over 50% year over year gains in pending sales, meaning that there were way more buyers than there were last year. And that is in large part to this notion that there is this mass exodus out of Silicon Valley. People are saying, my God, my employer says I never need to go to the office again. And they say, okay, well, I'm gonna ditch Silicon Valley and go buy a bigger house in X, Y, or Z place. that is playing out in the data. Now, the question becomes, is this a reactionary behavior? Is this a temporary trend? Or is this a preview to a more permanent environment here in Silicon Valley? Is this the precursor to a more permanent way of life? That remains to be seen. The verdict is still out. I have my opinions on that, and too detailed to really go into this video, and I've kind of shared or given you a preview of what my thoughts are in previous videos. But nevertheless, let's explore the data here. Now, the full June data is out and live for us, so that's really awesome. If you're wondering where I get this data from, this is a software that we use. It's called Trend Graphics, and they pull straight from the multiple listing service. So this data that we're getting is basically aggregated, sourced from the MLS, and is regurgitated back to us, the agents and the brokers, in a very palatable format, at least for us. And now I'm giving it to you, and I'm empowering you, the audience, with this information, because knowledge is power. At least so they say, right? So San Mateo County, you'll see the data here. 688 units for sale last month in the month of June, and the solds there are lower at 426. Pendings at 576. Now, what I want you guys to notice is this trend line of the pending sales here, where it's increasing month over month over month, right? That's a good sign. Now, if you look at the data chart below, you'll see that for sale inventory right now in the month of July, it is up 12.2%, versus the pending sales are down 1%. That is obviously it's pretty early on in the month. We surprisingly, we generally see a dip in inventory the first week of July because. First, 4th of July is typically considered not the best week to put your home on the market. So we should pay attention to this data and this trend here, because last month we saw a slight decrease in for sale inventory, right, and month or year over year, right, but a increase in pending sales, right, where we were, June 2020 at 688 versus June 2019 we're at 712. So we had a slight dip in inventory, 3%, and then an increase in pending sales of 18.3%. So that number seems to have basically almost flip-flopped that delta, but it's very early on in the month. So let's pay attention. Let's look at that and make sure that that trend doesn't play out into something that spells a slowing of the market, because right now things are still very active in San Mateo County. That we come down to Santa Clara County, and you'll see the charts up here. We last month had a decrease of 35% year over year in inventory, and an increase of 15.1% in pending sales. Right, that is a massive delta when you compare it to last year. That is basically a 50%, think about this, a 50% change in environment, right? A 50% change in who has the leverage in the negotiations, right? The narrative here isn't that the pendings are drastically higher than last year. The narrative is that the inventory is drastically lower than it was last year. How much longer does that trend continue? Well, right now we are seeing that delta shrink. Now, given it's early in the month, but it's 27.2% month to date, year over year, versus pending sales, which is up 7.6%. So we have inventory, it's still lower than last year, about 25% lower, and pending sales are still up, but we're definitely coming down on that. Very, very fascinating, though, how we still see this increase from San Mateo County to Santa Clara County. We've talked about this notion of the trickle-down theory, where everything that happens in the Mid-Peninsula eventually starts to trickle down. We are not seeing anything close to what we were seeing last month, or even the month prior. in San Mateo County to Santa Clara County. We're still in a much stronger seller's market, but let's pay attention to this and keep this in the back of your mind as we move into the rest of July. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I've had a lot of clients reach out to me and say, Danny, why do you never cover Alameda County? And truthfully, what happens in Alameda County tends to play out pretty. It tends to be almost an in between of San Mateo County and Santa Clara County. Here's how I feel about Alameda County. Alameda County is a great county. We sell a lot of real estate in Alameda County, and what you'll see here is the data, and then I'll go into my thoughts here. But look at this, guys, because this it should startle you if you're a buyer, and it should put you in motion and put you in action if you're a home seller. In June of 2020. There were more pending sales than homes for sale. Crazy. We had, well, I can't even read that because it's so tiny, but we had 1175 for sale and 1192 pending. So just a little bit more. But the decrease is negative 26% year over year, right? In active inventory, with an increase of 3.7% in pending sales. So what does this tell us? Again, the narrative is it's not that there's way more buyers out there. It's that there's far fewer homes to choose from. And that is driving the market, right? That is driving the market. The market is not being driven by the buyers. The market is being sustained by the buyers, right? The buyers are sustaining their appetite. The only difference is the amount of inventory to consume or absorb, okay? Now, this is very similar, by the way, to what you see in Santa Clara County. The only difference between Santa Clara County and Alameda County is that when the market's hot, the market's fairly hot. It's very consistent. Santa Clara County, Alameda County, they're very similar. The difference is that when the market gets a little volatile, or we have a season where the market isn't in the seller's favor, or it's skewed more towards the buyer's favor, the homes do not hold their values nearly as well in Alameda County as they do in Santa Clara County. That's just a fact, right? And so you see way more volatility in Alameda County as opposed to Santa Clara County. So right now, the going's good. Things look pretty similar right now in Alameda County as they do in Santa Clara County, and I expect that trend to continue until the tide turns, right? And then we'll revisit these numbers and see, wow, if you had bought a home in Santa Clara County at the same price as Alameda County, and the specs are similar and everything, you'll see homes hold their value in Santa Clara County far greater than they do in Alameda County. So now let's go down to San Benito County. Really quick, guys. Last month, 77 points. We were alluding to this earlier in the video. 77% increase in pending sales versus a decrease of 38% year over year in active inventory. That is over 100-point turn in environment, right? In buyer appetite, and not just buyer appetite, but just in the environment. The equilibrium has been shifted completely 180 on its head. Again, the same thing that you're seeing in Alameda County plays itself out in San Benito County, where we get 94 sales, pending sales, and only 89 homes for sale. Crazy numbers. And now, again, you look at the data charts here in July, month to date. Inventory is down 28%. Pendings are down 5%. We'll see if that sharp incline in pending sales, year over year continues into July. I would be surprised if we see another 77% increase in pending sales. That would just be ludicrous. But so let's pay attention to these numbers. But the fact still remains that there is still way less supply relative to the amount of demand as opposed to last year. And so as long as that trend continues, we're going to see prices appreciate in San Benito County. And the reason I give San Benito is because when you think about Santa Clara County, when you think about San Mateo County, we're seeing, and we have team members right now on our team that are working with people in San Mateo County and Santa Clara County, and they are selling their homes there and moving down in San Benito County, right? Interesting to note that there's also a cohort of Bay Area families that are moving to other parts of the Bay Area, right? San Benito County being one of them. What's in San Benito County? Well, great, great weather. There's sunshine all the time. Home prices are very affordable. There's a lot of new construction there. It's really close to a bunch of wine country. It's right in the middle of the Santa Clara Valley wine country, and the San Benito County wine country. I mean, there's a lot to do there, right? Or it's a nice place to kind of live the latter years of your life if you choose to, right? Like nice. They have retirement communities there too in San Benito. There's a lot to do, right? But there's also a cohort of Bay Area families that are moving north. They're going to, this is out of Forbes here. Bay Area families are fueling Napa Valley's real estate market. Napa Valley real estate is booming with multiple offers and bidding wars. And when you look at this, we're experiencing a flight to quality in housing. Quality is defined by space, indoor and outdoor, by setting, resort-like, and finally, room for family activities that were previously accommodated by gyms, schools, community centers, and the like. I'm going to link the article down below. There's so much good stuff here. But I got curious. So I was like, my gosh, people are moving to Napa, and when you think Napa, right, you think wine country, you think exquisite, you think luxury, right? Let's look at this luxury, what I would consider a very nice home. I wouldn't say like luxury lifestyle with the swimming pool and the tennis courts and the bowling alley, but this is a nice home. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1024 Wyatt Avenue, 1428 square feet. Look at these pictures. It's been on for 18 days. Shout out to Nicole Solari from Level Up Realty. Nice listing, Nicole. This is a nice house. Price is $675,000. That's crazy. You could sell your home, pay for this home in cash, and live the rest of your years debt-free. Oh, and by the way, you get the extra added incentive of being minutes to downtown Napa, walking distance to schools, and about, 15, 20 minutes, I imagine, to the closest winery, if not closer. Is this the beginning of a mass exodus in Silicon Valley? I imagine that this is a possibility that we should consider as Silicon Valley real estate agents, as a community. When I think of Silicon Valley, one of the things that really drove the market here was its proximity to Silicon Valley tech. I think that allure is still going to be there for quite some time. I think the pride of owning a Silicon Valley home is going to drive the market here for quite some time. I also do think that if you're a tech worker here, you're going to want to be close to work. Whether or not you need to go into the office, I do think that there is something to be said for at least being proximal. I don't think I would consider Napa proximal. That being said, this is very interesting stuff. Let's look at the numbers here for Napa, okay? We have, by the way, if you look at this graph, do you notice how drastically different? And this is what I'm talking about here. You want to talk about a more normal market. This looks way closer to what a normal market looks like in terms of what the for sale inventory, the delta between for sale and sold inventory. Let's pay attention to the pending sales, the red line there, in June of 2020, do you notice how drastic of an increase, drastic of a run-up we have in pending sales here in Napa County for the month of June in 2020? Pending's up 33% year over year. Inventory down 20%. That's driving the market. Look at that. Now, again, early in the month, too early in the month for to really measure the for sale month to date versus pending month to date. But still, there is a delta in the seller's favor there. A 13-point difference in inventory relative to the amount of demand versus last year. So, what does that spell for us here in Silicon Valley? What does that mean if you're a home seller in today's environment? Well, if you're a home seller, this should, if nothing else, instill in you this idea that perhaps nothing is really permanent here. I'm talking to a lot of people that are considering selling their home right now, and my advice is this: if you've had any thoughts of selling in the next 12 to 24 months, and you're able to pack up and move in the next 4 to 8 weeks, or at least show your home and move maybe in like 4 to 6 months after closing, escrow closing, and you getting your rent back and staying in the home, I don't think you're going to get a much better opportunity than what we have here today, with just the drastic difference in inventory relative to the amount of demand. And as we move into this next episode, this next part of the Silicon Valley experience, coronavirus has changed us, right? I don't think we'll ever quite go back to where we were before. If this trend continues, could we see a leveling off of pricing here in Silicon Valley for a good long future? I think we should consider the possibility. Yeah, and if you're a home buyer, you're probably thinking, "Wow, no, this is terrible news." Let me kind of assuage some concerns here. If you're a home buyer, if you're in escrow right now, don't worry about it. You're still got another eight weeks or so of run up. And so guaranteed you're going to have people paying way more than what you just paid for. You got in at the beginning, you got in at the precipice of this rising market. If you are considering moving up, meaning if you have a condo or a townhome here anywhere in Silicon Valley, and you're considering moving up, right? You're considering buying that dream home, that single family home. Do not waste another minute. Put your home on the market today, and let's strategize and get you into that dream home. Here's why. Whenever we have these type of appreciating markets, right, you have the unique ability to sell your home, right, for top dollar, your condo or townhome or top dollar, and then move into a more stable, secure asset. Let me explain. If you really think the market's going to depreciate, which one do you think is going to get hit harder percentage-wise? Your condo or townhome, or that single-family home? The answer is obvious. The single-family home is going to hold its value significantly better, and that condo or townhome will depreciate faster. Right? Same thing with Alameda County, right? If you're considering selling your home in Alameda County and coming to Santa Clara County, you should sell now, because the numbers don't lie. The pendings are outweighing the supply right now, meaning that if you're an Alameda County seller, your house is moving. Now, of course, there are nuances there, and not everything is the same. Every area is the same, but the principle holds true that if you're moving up, right, or you're moving into a more if you're moving into a more desirable location, area, price point, property type, etc., especially property type and especially area, when you consider those two things alone, the property type and area, if you're moving into a more desirable property type and or area, that asset is going to be more secure over time, right? And so if the market really does dip and we really do experience a decline in pricing, you're going to be very happy that you made that decision to make that leap, because it might hurt right now, but it's going to positively impact you in the future. If you're a buyer, a first-time home buyer, and you're paying rent, right now the interest rates are so low. A starter home here in Silicon Valley is not much more than what you're paying for in rent anyways, and plus you get to deduct your interest and everything. So what I'm trying to say right now what I'm trying to say right now is that the only people that shouldn't be buying are people that are truly buying investment properties. Most investment property owners, people that have been holding real estate here for a long time, are selling, right? And that's smart because we don't know what the future holds. But what we do know is this, is that buyers are buying right now because this sounds cliche, but home is where the heart is, right? And right now, I think we're all in a very unique situation, unprecedented situation, where people really realize that they want to love where they live, right? And if you are, if you're not loving where you live right now, that's what's causing people to get off their rear end and make a move, right? And make that decision to fulfill their Silicon Valley dream, or to begin their Silicon Valley dream. That is always a good decision, right? Always a good decision. It always plays itself out in the long term, right? In the long run. Can't predict what's going to happen in the short term, but all I know is that we are in for a very, very interesting couple of months. Again, guys, if you have any questions, if you're a home buyer, right, in today's market, and you're trying to figure out, well, should I do this? Should I not do this? That's a really great question. Go ahead and text the word analysis to the number down below, and we will get you a very comprehensive analysis of your situation and figure out, well, does it make sense for you to make that move right now? It could be that it doesn't, and we've told many buyers, honestly, over the last couple of months that it doesn't make sense for them right now. But for many, it does. So go ahead and text the word analysis to the number down below. And again, if you're a home seller in today's environment and you're still with me and you're still watching this whole video, what are you waiting for? You know, what are you waiting for? Is it that you don't know where you want to move? Because that's a very, very strong possibility. If that's the case, and you're considering moving out of the area, but you're not really sure where you want to move to, text the word "move out" to the number down below. We have a moving out of the Bay Area guide that we will send to you to help kind of get you familiar with what else is out there, and ultimately help provide you with the building blocks to get to where you want to be next, right? This is Danny Gould, everyone, with the Selling Silicon Valley Group, and thanks so much for watching. This is, wow, a 30-minute video. Crazy. If you're watching till the end of this, I sincerely, if you're watching till the end of this, comment down below. I want to see, and I'll send you a Selling Silicon Valley shirt, because if you watch this whole video and just message down below, comment down below if you are still watching this. Someone on my team will reach out to you, DM you. We'll get your address. We'll send you an SSV shirt because I appreciate your attention. This is Danny Gould, everyone, with the Selling Silicon Valley Group, and I will catch all of you in the next video.